Hello guys, and welcome to mITX, an extremely low effort and extremely low budget tech channel dedicated to bringing you only the best in bad tech content. Today, we're doing something I'm very excited about. We are once again building a gaming rig, and it is once again mITX, but it is of a wholly different character than the last one we did. First of all, the parts are pretty much all new, and they are definitely much higher performance. Today, my friends, we are building my new mITX gaming and editing system. So without further ado, let's just take a look at the parts we are going to be using. So first up is our processor, and what other processor would I be using but the Ryzen 5 3600. 6 cores, 12 threads, amazing single-threaded performance. This will do everything I needed to. It will be amazing for my gaming and my light editing needs, and it will just, this is the perfect CPU for this build. And cooling that 3600 will be this, the Arctic Freezer34 Esports Duo. It's a pretty standard 4 heat pipe tower cooler, except for the fact that it's extraordinarily compact for what it is actually. If you compare it to something like the Cooler Master Hyper 212, which is a similarly spec'd cooler, it's just tiny compared to that one, but it performs the same or even better perhaps. It comes with 2 of these really good Arctic Bionics fans, but I am going to be replacing those with these, the Corsair LO120 RGBs. Because I like RGB, these are really great fans. I will not let those Bionics fans go to waste though. I'm planning on adding them to the build as extra case fans. But if I can, obviously, if they won't fit, I'll just have 2 more case fans to work with in the future. So that is pretty nice either way. And the motherboard we'll be using will be this, the Gigabyte Aorus X570i Pro Wi-Fi. This is a pretty damn high-end motherboard. It's got all these amazing features. It's got built-in Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.0, PCI Express 4.0 obviously, as it's an X570 chipset. It's got 2 M.2 slots, one just here under the chipset fan, and then one here around the back. 2 DIMM slots obviously, it's still mITX. That's the AM4 socket right there. It's got, everything I need and more. So this is the one we will be using for sure. And for our RAM, we will be using this, a 2x8GB kit of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro. 3200MHz CL16. 3200MHz CL16 is not the fastest for Ryzen 3000, for which AMD recommends 3600. Most 3600MHz kits though, that you'll find will be running at CL18. And I've been given to understand that CL16 3200 and CL18 3600 perform pretty similarly. I will be tuning these and trying to get them to 3600 CL18 and see if there is a difference in performance or if it's even worth it. So stay tuned for that. Won't be in this video, but maybe in a future one. And for our storage, we are going all NVMe this time around, seeing as the motherboard has 2 M.2 slots. So for a boot drive, we are using this. It's a Kingston A1000 480GB SSD. It's nothing too special, but I've had it for a while and I have all my files and stuff on there, so I'm going to keep using it. It's fast enough for my needs as a boot drive. And then for my mass storage for games, I'm going to be using this, the Kingston A2000 1TB. This is actually quite a bit faster than the A1000. And it's obviously twice as large. But I don't have anything on here, this is brand new. So I'm just going to be using this as my mass storage, and occasionally as a scratch disk if I need to for editing these videos. But mostly I edit off an external drive anyway, so it's not a huge issue for me. But all NVMe, which I'm pretty hyped about actually. And finally we get to what I'm probably most excited about, and it's this, the graphics card, the Sapphire Pulse 5700 XT. And this is just, I'm really excited about this. The 5700 series is just excellent for 1440p gaming, and since that's the resolution I play at, I was already looking at them for this build. But then I went on, because here in Sweden we have a huge sale during the days between Christmas and New Year's, and yeah, this was on sale for a great price by Swedish standards. So I picked it up. This Pulse model, you know, I went for it's just this model runs cool and quiet. It's got, yeah, pretty much everything you need, and it was, again, just a great price, and it would be great for my 1440p gaming.
And here, guys, is where I did a blunder. The case, which is the Lian Li T150, arrived a bit later than the components, and I fully intended to do like a parts intro for that as well. But when it finally arrived, in my haste to just build the computer, I totally forgot to film such a parts introduction for it. So instead I just leave you with this marketing material for the case, this little picture here, and hope that's fine.
And after the case we get to the power supply, and we'll be using this, the Corsair SF600, which is just a really high-end power supply. It's got 80+ platinum certifications, fully modular with individually sleeved cables. Oh yeah, this is just a great power supply. It's going to be great. I keep saying that, but you know, it's just, yeah, this is shaping up to be one pretty epic build. So it's a little while later, and the computer's now built. I have mixed feelings about the building process, actually. Naturally, being an mITX case, and a pretty small one at that, space is always an issue. But overall, you know, I managed to get through it. One thing I am quite disappointed with, but that's not because of the case, it's because of the power supply. The cables that came with the power supply, individually sleeved and beautiful as they are too short. So I couldn't route them in any particularly nice way, so kind of had to do the best I could, just having them dumped out in the front chamber. So I think in the near future I will be picking up some custom cables for the power supply, and if I do, I will post an update to rebuilding it, and yeah, so that's what that's going to be. I'll tell you what I'm not disappointed in, and that's the performance and the sound it makes just under load. It's very quiet. Now I'm not too bothered about noise, honestly, but this machine runs very quiet. Another thing I should know is that there is actually a Type-C port here on the front I/O of the case, but since the X570i Aorus Pro Wi-Fi does not have a Type-C header on the motherboard, that is unfortunately unusable. But beyond that, I'm quite happy, and I am fascinated, let's say, by the integrated carrying handle. So without further ado, let's head into the benchmarks.
So Red Dead Redemption 2 actually ran really well at my optimized settings at 1440p. As I mentioned in my previous video, these settings are essentially hardware unboxed optimized settings with a few things tweaked here and there, such as reflection quality and mirror quality and such. Anyway, as you can see in this footage, the game is absolutely beautiful, although I'm sure that's a surprise to absolutely no one. So at these settings and this resolution, my new PC got a minimum FPS of 31, an average of 79, and a max of 123, which is pretty great considering this isn't exactly the most well-optimized game out there. Overall, it was really smooth, just going through the benchmark that's built into the game, and also just playing it normally out in the open world. That, I have to say though, that drop to 31 FPS is something that I can't really say I noticed. Beyond that though, yeah, what else can I say? I'm really happy with the performance in this game for this PC. So, Assassin's Creed Odyssey ran about as well as you can expect the game to run at all. So we were running at 1440p like before, with all settings is very high except shadows and volumetric clouds set to medium. And from that we got a minimum FPS of 26, which is really bad in all honesty, an average of 64 and a max of 96. There's really no reason this computer shouldn't be able to do more than 64 FPS on average. It's just the game is just horribly optimized for anything, but it's a pretty fun game, I think, and these frame rates are obviously really playable, given that it's a third-person RPG and not like a first-person shooter or the like. And it's really, really pretty at very high 1440p settings, so I think it's probably worth it to play it this way. Again, though, yeah, Ubisoft really needs to work on its games. So I ran The Witcher 3 not because it's the newest game and I really wanted to put the computer through its paces with this game in particular, but I ran it because I play the game quite a lot and I absolutely adore it. So I just want to know how well it does, and I would have found out eventually, but I might as well add it to the video. So I played for about an hour, and using MSI Afterburner to benchmark, since there is no built-in benchmark, I got a minimum FPS of 37, an average of 75, and a max of 101. And this was at ultra settings at 1440p, except I had Hairworks turned off, and that's simply because I don't like the way it looks, in all honesty. Either way, the game is still really, really beautiful. The environments are great. I think the facial detail on Geralt and the main characters is still really good. Some things are starting to show their age, like the horse, especially, I think, looks really bad compared to like Red Dead Redemption or so. But overall, this is a great game, and I'm very happy with the way it performs. So just to tie things off, I decided to do a run of 3D Mark just for fun. And in that we got an aggregate score of 7758, a graphics score of 9153, and a CPU score of 5163. And I think that's pretty good. Obviously this is a synthetic benchmark and has no real reflection in terms of how real games would perform. Unfortunately I didn't have time to do too much benchmarking this time around because work and other things got in the way. But I've since been able to play some other games like Heroes and Generals, Apex Legends, Smite, and some other esports titles, Awesome Notes. There's no reason it shouldn't handle these games really great, and it definitely does. So there's that. Overall, I'm extremely happy with the way this PC performs, and yeah, I'm just happy with it in general.
And that is that, my friends. I'm very happy with the performance of this machine, and it's going to be my gaming and editing PC for the foreseeable future. And I'm quite happy with it beyond the thing with the cables I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so that's it for me for now. Keep an eye out for the next video, which is a project I am actually quite excited about. Peace out.